Hello. So I have the displeasure of making a video about the death of PnB Rock, which, if you're not aware, PnB Rock is an American rapper who is from Philadelphia and who died a few days ago due to someone attempting to rob him and killing him in the process. Now, with respects to the context or circumstances surrounding his death, I am not worthy to really elaborate upon any of that. Many of the details surrounding the incident have not been really disclosed all that well. And so I will do my best to refrain from explicitly mentioning anything or any details about the case. But just to give a sort of overview of what happened, PnB Rock was sitting in a restaurant having an afternoon meal, apparently with his girlfriend. And while he was in there, someone came into the restaurant, came up to his table, demanded that he take the chain off of his neck and give it to him. And it resulted in a tussle that ended in PnB Rock being shot and killed. The murderer then escaped the scene and nobody knows who he is or has a trace of where he went. So needless to say, this is disappointing. It's very saddening. And I think for most of us, it's honestly somewhat expected, right? Because this represents sort of a common trend that we've seen amongst rappers, especially in recent years. Prominent figures in the hip hop community being shot and killed due to some violence. And when I first heard about this, I thought that, well, I heard a rumor that it had something to do with gang violence, which apparently that was not entirely true. I thought that perhaps PnB Rock had gotten involved in something that he ought not be in, but this was not the case. No, in this incident, PnB Rock was entirely an innocent man minding his own business, and he was targeted due to his material wealth or his apparent material wealth and killed wrongfully. So one of the things that has awfully troubled me and outraged me a bit about this is that it seems that quite a few people, at least from what I've seen so far, have expressed this opinion that PnB Rock is somehow responsible or accountable for his death. If not mostly, then even entirely, right? So basically it hinges upon two assertions. The first being that he should not have been out in public with the apparel that he was wearing. He should have not been wearing that flashy jewelry because it attracted the wrong type of attention that would have not existed otherwise had he not worn it in the first place. And then the second is the location. So apparently his location was publicly disclosed via social media. I believe the social media of his girlfriend had something to do like with her making a post on social media about taking a picture of their meal and basically letting everyone know where he was. So I think it would be incredibly naive to concur anything less than this, that generally speaking, it is unwise to go out in the public and assume that there's no risk associated with wearing flashy apparel, right? It'd be contrary to common sense to say such. And also, it's generally unwise to publicly disclose your location, let alone publicly disclose your information with anyone. But those two things don't constitute allowing us to say that PnB Rock was responsible for his death, or in other words, put the blame on him. Because it seems like the narrative is that this assailant, this murderer, this robber, they're making it seem as though he had no other choice but to rob this man due to those two things, right? Like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's just the way it is, right? And I suppose that it would be okay to accept that if we were living in the Wild West. But last time I checked, we live in an egalitarian society, a society that believes in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and liberty and justice for all. A society that sort of promotes and ensures the equal protection of all people. I believe that we live in a place, or we should live in a place, where a person can get up out of bed, put on their clothes, put on whatever jewelry or apparel they want, walk out of the house, and simply go out in public and have a meal, and not have to worry about the threat of violence. Any circumstance that would be contrary to this or less than that should be criticized and condemned. And my my main concern is this, is that by saying that, oh, well, this is just the way things are, he shouldn't have been in there wearing that jewelry, he shouldn't have been publicly disclosing his location, by pinning the blame on him, we're sort of excusing the real problem, which is there is literally violence that infests that community in LA. So I don't really, again, I don't know the context or circumstances surrounding this man's death. I don't know who did it, who he was associated with. I don't know anything about that, right? But the bottom line is this, is that I don't like or appreciate or agree with people saying that PnB Rock was responsible for his death. Like, he should have known better. Don't get me wrong. Again, at the beginning of this video, I concurred that generally speaking, it is not wise to do those things, to wear jewelry and, you know, have a flashy appearance about oneself and to, you know, disclose your location publicly. Of course, those things come with risk. But the thing is that we have to do better, and we can't, as a society, as a community, as people, excuse that and say, well, that's just the way it is, and be content with that. We should be set on eradicating that mentality, that violence that infests that community. And for those of you who live in LA, I mean you no disrespect, but you may be content to live in a society like that, a community like that, but it's not right. It undermines the fundamental principles of an egalitarian society, an egalitarian lifestyle. That is one that ensures and promotes the equality and freedom of all people. And if you're content to live in a society, a community like that, then personally, I have no desire whatsoever to visit you or to live in your community alongside you. Now, another thing, which I may get into some trouble for, but I'm going to make an assumption. Maybe make an assumption. Actually, I won't make the assumption, but I'll just put this on the table and let's see where it goes from here. Again, I told you at the beginning of this video that I don't know too many of the details surrounding the circumstances or context of his death. I don't know anything about the murder, what he looked like, who he was, but I have something tells me that there is a chance, a good chance, that the man who killed PnB Rock is a black man. Now, you may be saying, oh, why is this important? You know, why is this relevant information? Well, if he is a black man, all I gotta say is this. Every black person, once it's disclosed, if he's ever found, every black person better be out in the streets protesting about this. They better be on social media trumpeting about the injustice of a black man killing another black man, an innocent, prominent black man, one who was minding his own business, who wasn't doing anything to provoke or incite violence. You know, I think that usually people are quick to say Black Lives Matter when a white cop kills an innocent, unarmed black man. But when it's another black man killing a black man, for some reason everybody goes silent, and then they devolve to these explanations like, oh, well, it's just the way things are. Well, PnB Rock shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. You know, that's the excuse that people give. But no, I will not accept it. I will not tolerate it. You may, but that's not right. It's not right. It's a double standard. And I think anyone who has any sense can see this. So that's my piece. And again, I usually don't comment on such things, but I just found it necessary to say this. And I'm sure most people a lot of people won't see this, but for those of you who do, spread it. You know, I think that the aforementioned narrative, the one that I suppose is wrong, the one that puts the blame upon PnB Rock, that one is dangerous. And it only further perpetuates violence. It only further perpetuates contention and the possibility that we will be a detriment to ourselves. That is by accepting something that ought to be condemned in our communities. So, thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon on the next talk.